Welcome back to the channel, guys. And in today's video, we'll get this thing back on the road if we don't get any more surprises. Okay, so most of the parts that TRE was kind enough to not send me with my transmission and not reply to my emails and not reply to my phone calls finally came in. And I say most of them because I am missing a nut. It's a nut that goes on this bracket right here, but I think it's just a nut. I did order it, but it's still, coming. So I'm just gonna put a stainless nut for now and, send it for now. And then I also got my replacement transmission bolts. I think I ordered most of them, if not all of them, just because the ones that were there, they were all kind of mismatched and stuff like that. And I wasn't sure. There was one of them that the one that holds the ground strap that was a little bit too long. And then I was short one of the TKs, so I figured I'd get another one just in case. So anyway, so I can assemble all this stuff, put my intercooler piping, put my intake on, prime this thing, check for leaks, and man, get this thing running. All right, so all this stuff is basically the shifter linkage bracket that I'm missing. So this actuates one of the cables. Okay, so this bolts up to the transmission. I'll show you guys in a little bit, but first I gotta assemble all this stuff together. Okay, so this little rubber bushing, this little white little bushing goes inside this rubber bushing. Okay, and I put this together a couple of times, and it's definitely worth putting a little bit of grease on there. I'm using just some of the leftover bushing grease that I had from all the white line stuff. So yeah, make sure that that feels a lot smoother like that. And then I put a little bit of grease inside of this guy too. Couldn't find a torque spec on these, so I'm just gonna tighten it until it feels about right. Okay, yeah, much better. So yeah, before I had the white on top of that, on top of this rubber thing, and that didn't work. And so now I think that I don't really need this nut that I didn't get on time. This may just snap over this. Yep. So here she goes. Let's put her in the car. Okay, so this is going to be a little bit difficult to see, but I'm going to try to show you guys where this goes or how this goes. Okay, so basically this bracket goes just like that. Okay, just like that. You would think that this little loop goes to the top, but it doesn't. It goes just like that. And this bushing sits underneath this slot here. Okay. This slot right here. Okay, right here. And then these two bolts right here and the one underneath, it's hard to see, but it's right there. Okay, are these two bolts. And then obviously you put the shifter linkage, okay, through here, and then you put a cotter pin. All right, so I've been messing with this for a little while, and I'm having an issue. I think it's related to the Speedlab shifter bracket. I'm not sure yet, but right now, if you see, these cables always get in the way. If you see how this doesn't quite line up, so I have to pull this cable this way to get it to line up, okay? Which seems fine, but the problem is, if you look right now, the shifter is centered, okay? And with the spring, it returns to center, okay? But when you pull that cable, it pulls the shifter this way. And then it becomes really difficult to like put it in like, first and second goes right in, but to put it in like fifth and reverse. See, so let me put it in there. So look, I gotta like pull it, okay, and then put it in there. And it's also a little too tall, it seems like. I gotta bring the cable down to meet the bracket. And the bracket's obviously brand new, so the bracket that holds this pin. So anyway, so now I got that in there. But now look, the shifter is like sitting slightly down and towards the driver, and it doesn't really return. It's like, so it doesn't really shift smoothly. So I'm not really sure. I'm gonna contact them, but I don't see anything that you could do. The bracket itself doesn't have any play. There's no movement on those holes, and there's just those two holes. And this comes assembled from them, so I think I'm gonna have to throw the stock bracket back in there, guys. All right, so this is definitely a really nice looking piece, but unfortunately it did not work as expected. I think it just moves the shifter cables a little bit too much out of alignment from the stock form. So I put the stock bracket back in there. Yes, the nasty looking bracket down there. It's really a shame to put it there. I'll change it eventually, but that'll be a project for another time. But now, obviously I haven't ran the transmission, so it's not like super smooth, but you know, now it does go into every gear, you know. So hoping that, you know, once I actually get some oil running through the transmission, it'll loosen up a little bit. But at least, you know, I got that solved. All right, she's all put back together. All we got to do now is crank her and check for leaks. All right, she's running good. Everything seems to be working. Everything is spinning as it should. So anyway, so far, yeah, everything seems good. No leaks or anything like that. I'm just letting it fully warm up so that I can do the adjustment on the Infinite Evo oil pan on the adjustable oil pressure valve. And then I think it's time to put the wheels on this thing and put it on the ground. Wow, what a transformation some wheels do for a car, man. These look incredible. So to be honest with you guys, I was not planning on getting these. I found these on Facebook Marketplace. You guys notice there's kind of like a theme here. I just kind of roam through Facebook Marketplace and find, you know, try to find good deals. So I was originally planning on doing some Volks. If you guys have known me for a long time, I've done tons of Volks. I've had tons and tons of Volks and Advan, but these were just too cheap to pass. I got these from a Honda guy. I guess he tried to fit these, but they just didn't work out. These are 18 by 9.5, 27, okay? And yes, the fenders are massaged, but they're not hacked, okay? We did it super nice. My friend Tad from CO2 Works helped me out, and he, plain and simple, did an amazing job with this. We took our time. Doesn't look, I mean, you can, if you know Evos, you can kind of tell, okay, because there's a little, you know, it dips in here, okay? So, and right now this has no camber in the rear. It has, I think, most of the camber in the rear, okay? Now, when I first got these, I was told, or I looked online, and it looked like I was gonna need 15mm spacers, so that's what I got, okay? But one thing that I didn't consider was when you go to the Evo 10 brake setup, since the rotor is bigger, it does move the caliper that way a little bit. So it looks like, I mean, I got tons of clearance. So it looks like I either don't need the spacer, or I can probably just get away with like a 5mm spacer. Okay, and for tires, I went with the 255/35/18 Falcon RT660s, the same tire that I had in the gray car, you know, when it got totaled. But man, I just can't get over how good this look. I don't know that the right height is where it needs to be. I may have to raise the front a little bit. That may rub. Okay, so there's still some tweaking to be done, obviously, but this is about this thing on the road and the transmission. So let's go for a drive. And you know, I just wanted to say, guys, I've never really done a transmission on an Evo 8 or an Evo 9 on the ground. I've only done one other. Oh, that's the bad thing with these sticky tires, they pick up everything. But yeah, so definitely a lot riding on this. The brakes, I did the oil pan, I did a bunch of stuff with the suspension, the bushings. Basically took most of the suspension apart. Obviously tranny, transfer case, restacked the rear diff, you know, so there's a lot going on here. Got new wheels, no tires, so there's a lot that could go wrong, and so far it feels pretty smooth. So far so good. Sorry if you hear my water juggling around. Can't live without my water bottle. Okay, yeah, so the brakes definitely need to be bedded in. It is a race pad, so I ain't gonna have to bed them in. Second, ooh, smooth. Went right in. Third, okay, nice. Fourth, yes. Fourth went right in. Fifth, oh, like butter. So I'm trying to be really easy with it. TRE tells you to take it really easy for the first 100 miles. Don't bring it up to highway speeds. Don't just, he tells you to like drive it for a little bit and then park it and let it cool down and then repeat that, and that city driving would be the best for it. And then in 100 miles, change the fluid. So I did put like a cocktail of the actual fluid that I'm going to be running, which is the Redline 7595 NS, I believe. I'll show you guys the bottle. And then I topped it off with just like the regular OEM Mitsu fluid. I think I put like about a quart, maybe a quart and a little bit of the Mitsu fluid, since I'm just going to dump it after 100 miles. And then on the T case, I did use the OEM SAE 90, the Diaqueen, but I am going to be running also a Redline. So I'm not going wide open or anything like that here. I'm just going easy, going through the gears. Nice. All the gears are going right in, man. I am so happy. Yes. Yes. Oh my god, after 8 weeks of this, waiting for TRE, and oh my god, I am so happy that this all kind of worked out. Well, not kind of, it all worked out. So far I got no leaks. I didn't miss anything as far as I can tell. Seems like I did, so far it seems like I did everything right, which for hobbyist mechanic, man, I'm super proud of myself. So I was saying about the TK. So on the TKs, I'm going to be running also a Redline, and that's going to be the 85 140 non-NS. That's just like a straight gear oil. Okay, so those are recommended fluids by TRE. Okay, and then I also did some research on the forums. I asked some of the track guys, and apparently that's what some of the serious guys are using. Some of them are, a lot of them are using this Motul stuff, but man, that stuff is mega expensive, and they're telling me, oh yeah, you change it after every track day. I'm like, wow, I'm used to on the vet changing the tranny fluid and the rear diff fluid once a year, man. So that's 10-12 track days. So I don't know, we'll see. I get it that these are more delicate, but I don't think I'm gonna be tracking this as hardcore. Man, this transmission, having a working transmission is just so awesome, man. I even had a tick already that I almost started to repeat with trying to go into fourth. I would almost like tighten my jaw and like barely pull on the lever to get it to go into fourth. And a lot of times, even if I had somebody in the car, I was just so embarrassed, I would kind of like rev out a little bit of third and just go into fifth, man, because it was really bad. There's been a lot of traffic over here, but I just been kind of trying to break in these, bedding these pads. Okay, so impression so far, I've been driving around maybe 15 miles or so. Transmission feels amazing. Very smooth. Okay, the brakes feel very strong. Hold on, I'm trying to get away from these people. Okay, so yeah, yeah, so the brakes feel very strong. Definitely need to do another bleed pass through. I have a little bit of a there's nothing happening on like the first inch of pedal movement, and then all of a sudden it just starts to grab really hard. As far as like the bushings and stuff like that, hard to tell, but I do know right now that I am getting some extra noises coming from the rear, definitely from the rear, but I'm also kind of hearing some extra noises on decel also, like in this area. So I'm thinking that possibly from like the rear diff restack, which is now acting as an action LSD, and I put the wave track in the front. So, and then all of a sudden it stops. So that you hear, you don't really feel it, you just hear it. I remember from my Evo 10, away. So I remember when I did my Evo 10, I never did a different LSD in the front, okay, but I had the restack done in the rear. I had the 12 plate done in the rear of my Evo 10, and when I did that, it made exactly the same sound. So I'm pretty sure it's just from that, but I'm not getting a lot of vibration. So I think that the white line bushings is a good compromise, you know, because yes, you get a little bit more noise, but it doesn't really translate a lot of vibration into the cabin, which is good. I feel a little bit extra vibration in the shifter, but not a whole lot. So I think that's a good compromise. You know, I've done the billet stuff and the solid bushing stuff, and that stuff just rattles the crap out of the car. So it may not come through on camera, but I gotta tell you, I am so super happy to have this thing back on the road. Very proud of myself that I did all this work here in my garage, and it seems like everything has worked out so far. No leaks, everything seems to be, you know, normal, no crazy vibrations. The transmission feels amazing at this point, even though I only have maybe 20 miles on it. He recommends that you put about 100 miles and then change the fluid, so that's what I'm going to be doing. The brakes feel amazing. I do have to re-bleed them, but you know, other than that, they feel very good. So far, I'm kind of happy with these pads. We'll see what they do on track. And guys, this is not the end of the road for the Evo. Okay, I still have a couple other things that we're going to be working on. I got some stuff for the interior. I got a couple cosmetic things. we got to adjust the suspension, do the alignment, and at some point, hopefully soon, get this thing out to the track. So guys, I just want to say thank you for sticking with me through these videos. I know this hasn't been the most exciting parts to watch me wrench on this thing in the garage. I don't really have the best setup to like do filming and stuff like that. I just do this for fun, man. I'm not trying to become YouTube famous or YouTube rich, So anyways, thank you, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.